In this video, I use modern AI tools to recreate what daily life looked like for women and families in ancient Rome during the time of Emperor Trajan, around the early 2nd century AD. These scenes are AI-generated interpretations based on historical records, archaeological evidence, and writings from the period. They are designed to help us imagine the atmosphere and realities of that world as closely as possible. Today, we move beyond the marriage customs we've explored before to examine the central roles women played in family life, their daily responsibilities, the education of children, their legal position under the system of Patria Potestas, and the striking differences between elite and ordinary households. Let's step into the world of Roman families and discover what it meant to be a wife and mother in one of history's greatest civilizations. Once the wedding garlands had wilted and the new bride had settled into her role, the rhythm of family life in ancient Rome truly began. In the heart of a Roman domus, or within the crowded apartments of an insula, women took charge of the household's daily operations. The materfamilias, or mother of the family, rose early as the first light filtered through the high windows or open compluvium in wealthier homes. The air carried the scent of fresh bread baking in the kitchen, or the faint aroma of olive oil being warmed. She moved through the rooms with purpose, her stola draping gracefully as she checked on the stores. For many, this involved supervising slaves or servants who ground grain, prepared meals, and cleaned. But in humbler homes, the woman herself might knead dough, tend to the hearth, or fetch water from the public fountains where neighbors exchanged news and gossip. The sounds of the city, carts rumbling on stone streets, vendors calling out, children playing, drifted in from outside. Managing the household was no small task. It meant ensuring food was prepared for the family meal, often simple fare of bread, porridge, vegetables, and occasional fish or meat. It required keeping accounts if she was literate or directing others. Historians note that the ideal Roman matron was the guardian of domestic harmony, her efficiency a reflection on the entire family's honor. Among the most emblematic of women's daily tasks was working with wool. Spinning and weaving were not just practical necessities. They were symbols of feminine virtue and diligence praised by Roman writers. In the atrium, or a dedicated room, the whir of the spindle and the rhythmic clack of the loom filled the air. Raw wool, greasy with lanolin, had a distinct earthy smell as it was carded and spun into thread. Women of all classes engaged in this work. For elite women, it might be more symbolic, overseeing slaves who did the bulk of the labor or producing fine garments for the family as a demonstration of frugality and skill, as even Empress Livia was said to have done for Augustus. In lower-class families, the labor was essential. Clothing for the family, tunics, cloaks, and household linens, was often produced at home from wool or linen. The process was laborious, cleaning the fleece, carding it to align fibers, spinning it on a drop spindle into yarn of varying thickness, then weaving it on a vertical loom into fabric. This work could take hours each day, often done while supervising children or directing household affairs. Evidence suggests that many women took pride in this craft. It connected them to generations of Roman women before them and provided a tangible contribution to the family's self-sufficiency. Beneath the daily routines lay the legal framework that defined family relationships. At the center was Patria Potestas, the paternal power held by the paterfamilias, the eldest male. This authority extended over his wife, children, and even adult sons living in the household. It gave him significant control over family decisions, property, and discipline. A daughter remained under her father's power even after marriage in certain forms, though by the imperial period, The more common sine manu marriage allowed women greater practical independence. Women could not vote or hold public office, yet they often wielded considerable influence within the home and sometimes beyond. They could own property, make wills, and engage in business under certain conditions, especially as widows or in later life. Roman law evolved, granting women more agency in managing their affairs compared to earlier times. Still, the paterfamilias held ultimate legal responsibility. Historians believe this system emphasized family unity and the continuation of the family line, with women playing vital supportive roles. In practice, many husbands consulted their wives on important matters, recognizing their intelligence and management skill. Central to a woman's life was child-rearing. With high infant and child mortality rates, sometimes half or more did not reach adulthood, pregnancy and childbirth were times of hope mixed with anxiety. Mothers, often aided by midwives, brought new life into the world in the home. For the wealthy, wet nurses might assist with feeding, allowing the mother to recover and resume duties. In all classes, mothers were primary caregivers in the early years, teaching basic skills, manners, and Roman values like pietas, duty to family and gods. Education began at home. Girls, and often boys until a certain age, learned from their mothers and tutors if the family could afford them. Elite girls received instruction in reading, writing, literature, music, and sometimes Greek. They learned household management in detail, how to run a large staff, entertain guests, and maintain the family's social standing. For lower-class girls, education focused heavily on practical domestic skills, cooking, cleaning, weaving, and helping with younger siblings. Some might learn basic letters to help with family business or accounts. Boys were prepared for public life or trades, but mothers played a key role in instilling discipline and moral character in all children. The home was the primary school, where stories of Roman heroes, religious rituals, and family history were passed down around the hearth. Life varied dramatically by social class. Elite women in grand domus with marble floors and frescoed walls enjoyed comforts and social opportunities. They might attend banquets with their husbands, visit baths, or manage extensive estates and investments. Some became patrons of the arts or influenced politics through their networks. Their households bustled with dozens of slaves performing specialized tasks. In contrast, women in plebeian or freedman families faced harsher realities. Living in multi-story insulae with shared facilities, they balanced childcare with labor. Many worked alongside husbands in shops, markets, or small farms on the city's outskirts. Laundry days involved carrying heavy loads to the Polonica or streams. Food preparation was constant. Yet these women often enjoyed more freedom of movement in the vibrant city streets, interacting with a wider community. Despite differences, the core responsibilities of household and family remained. Both elite and common women contributed to Rome's social fabric through their labor, child-rearing, and maintenance of traditions. In the early 2nd century, Emperor Trajan introduced the Alimenta program, a significant welfare initiative. This system provided financial support and food subsidies to poor children and orphans across Italian towns and cities. Funded through interest on loans to landowners, it helped struggling families ensure their children had nourishment and a chance at education or future productivity. Boys and girls received allowances, with legitimate children getting slightly more. For mothers in lower-class families, this aid could mean the difference between desperation and stability, reducing the pressure of raising children in poverty. It reflected a growing imperial concern for Italy's demographic health and the welfare of its future citizens. While not eliminating hardship, it offered a safety net that highlighted the state's interest in family life. Looking back across the centuries, the roles of Roman women in family life reveal a complex picture of duty, resilience, and quiet influence. They spun the threads that literally and figuratively held households together, nurtured generations under the framework of paternal authority, and adapted to the demands of their social class. Today, as we reflect on these ancient families, we see echoes in our own societies. The enduring importance of domestic management, education within the home, and support for vulnerable children. Rome's strength was built not only on legions and emperors, but on the daily efforts of its mothers and wives. What aspects of Roman family life surprise you most? How do you think these traditions have shaped modern ideas of home and family? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for joining this journey into the past.